Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is cheating stories, so let's get into it. The title of the first story is My Fiancé Cheated on Me with His Groomsman the Night Before Our Wedding. I haven't even taken my dress off. It's 2 a.m. and I'm sitting on the floor of the bridal suite because I have nowhere else to go. My fiancé, now ex, I guess, was caught with his groomsman, his best friend since high school, his male best friend. I always had this tiny voice in the back of my head that wondered, there were little signs. He'd always light up around him. He got defensive when I asked him why they texted all night. He'd say stuff like, it's just bro stuff, but I chalked it up to wedding stress. Tonight, my cousin came to find me during the rehearsal dinner. She looked pale and said that I needed to see something. She had walked in on them. In the bathroom, door unlocked, pants down, not just kissing. I confronted him and he didn't deny it. He just cried. Told me he didn't know why he did it. Said he loved me. Said that it was a, quote, mistake. The wedding is obviously off. Half the guests are flying in tomorrow morning and they don't even know yet. I just feel so numb. I feel humiliated. I feel like a prop in someone else's denial story. He could have just told me and we could have parted peacefully, but no. Now I'm left sitting in a hotel suite alone with a dress I'll never wear again and a future that doesn't even exist anymore. Biggest nightmare, obviously. Like, cheating with anyone is the biggest nightmare, but then also to feel like you were just, I don't know. I mean, nothing excuses cheating, in my opinion. Never, I don't think that's ever an excusable action to do. Not only is it not excusable, but at your wedding, almost your wedding, like your weekend of your wedding, the night before you're supposed to get married, your rehearsal dinner where you're like supposed to be celebrating that you guys are getting married tomorrow. That's just even more wild. It's like, whoa. I understand like the confusion and I know how hard that must be, of course. But like, you do not need to ruin another person's life because you're confused. And I'm not even saying that it's like he needs to say or he needs to tell her or come out to her or anything like that. I'm not even saying that at all. Obviously, I don't think that. I've been pretty open about that. Like, I don't think that is necessary. But do I think it's necessary for him to break up before they're about to get married? Yes. Instead, especially if you're questioning that hard to the point where you're tempted to do something with someone. Like, I just don't understand that whole aspect of it. I feel like we've heard multiple stories that are similar to this, and obviously my stance always stays the same. Like, I don't think that she should out him. I don't think that that is her place to say. I would just be like, yeah, he cheated on me, and rage from the rooftops. Like, I genuinely think that she has every right to rage that from the rooftops, but obviously you don't need to say who he cheated with, which I don't really know what her plan's going to be with that, but I'm really glad that it's not like, oh, this is a blessing. No, it's really, really good timing. And I hate to even say that because, like, there's nothing good about the situation. But the only thing that's good is good timing. And thank God she figured out before she married him, because God forbid she marry him and then this continues or she finds out that happened. That would be absolutely awful. The title of the next story is My Girlfriend of 3 years Cheated on Me, Got Pregnant, and later she tried pleading with me to help her and take her back. This happened years ago, and I thought that it would be worth sharing. My ex-girlfriend and I had what you might call an average relationship. We had our ups and downs, but we also managed to work things out. I noticed she started acting strangely and being secretive. I asked if everything was okay, and she snapped at me. She was also getting sick. Her daughter told me that she was throwing up, and one day I messaged her and she never responded. I called her, and there was no answer. This wasn't unusual for her. However, the next day, I still heard nothing from her. This went on for a week. I went to her place, but she wasn't there, or she wouldn't answer the door. She totally ghosted me. I texted her and asked if I did something wrong. I can see that she saw my texts, but just wasn't responding. She's a religious person, so I texted her, I'm sorry for whatever I did. even Jesus forgave Judas. She finally responded by saying, God forgives all. And she put something that I can't remember. She then told me to never text her again and then blocked me from everything. I was crushed. It took me a few weeks to process this. And then about 3 months later, by coincidence, I was dropping off a patient at the hospice facility where she worked. I didn't see her SUV in the parking lot, so I figured that she wasn't there. I was talking to the nurse and she recognized me and asked how she was doing. I told her we had broken up, and the nurse told me my ex was terminated because she damaged one of the company vehicles. And then she dropped a bombshell. She asked if I was going to take care of the baby when it was born. She was pregnant at that time. I think she was 5 months pregnant. It wasn't my baby either because I had got the snip after my daughter was born. I felt my stomach drop after that. It took me a while, but I finally moved on with my life and started dating an RN that I met at the hospital. It had been about a year and a half since this all happened. And then, out of the blue, I started getting texts from a number I didn't recognize. They were all about forgiveness and hoping that I was doing well in life. I just didn't respond back. Then one day, when I was getting off duty from fire department, I saw a note on my truck and it was from my ex. She was asking me to please meet her. But after giving it some thought, I decided not to, for the simple fact that she cheated on me, and my dad taught me if the person you loved and gave your life to does that to you, then they're no good for your life. The number I blocked shortly after that. A few days later, I arrived home, and she was there waiting. I ignored her and kept walking, and she pretty much made a scene because I did that. I told her, quote, "What the hell do you want?" And she said she was sorry. The father of her daughter came back into her life, and she wanted to be with him again, and she didn't know how to tell me. He got her pregnant and then left her again. She was asking for help because she couldn't afford to pay her bills and support her 2 daughters. She was also going to be evicted from her place. The job she had wasn't paying enough. I was indifferent about the whole thing. I was mad at her because of what she did, but I felt bad for her daughters. I cared a lot for her oldest daughter, so I did something without thinking. I handed her $100 and told her to buy them food and said, "Swallow your damn pride and move back in with your mother." Her and her mother have a very rocky relationship, but she knows she was always welcomed there. She was pleading for me to take her back because I was the only boyfriend who treated her with care, despite our ups and downs. I told her I'm not taking her back, and I'm not going to continue this conversation with her. I asked her to leave, and she did, while crying. I felt really bad, but I felt that it was necessary. After that, I heard she did move back in with her mom. Last I heard of her was she got her teacher's license, and she's teaching at an elementary school. I'm happy with my current girlfriend now, and we're actually talking about marriage. The way that she broke up with him, the way that she ghosted him is actually insane. I would never forgive her again. I totally admire what he did, giving her money to go buy the kids food, obviously. Like, I think I would probably do the same without, I'm not, I never want to speak to you again, but here you go, leave me alone. And I hope that everything gets better with you. Like, I wish you nothing but peace, but like, this is the last time I'll ever see you, talk to you, anything ever again. You just don't, not only did she cheat, but she ghosted him and treated him like a literal piece of trash that you can just an Arby's bag on the side of the road. Like, bye. Let me just throw my trash out on the side of the road and not even say goodbye. Not even give him any closure whatsoever. Not even a breakup text. The least you could have done is like, "Hey, I never want to see you again. Sorry, we're breaking up." That's it. Is that nice? Is that the best way to go about it? No, but it's better than just ghosting someone, especially when they try to reach out to you. They come to your house and you couldn't have even given them so much as a conversation or a text saying that you're breaking up, because I think that would have helped a lot. And not that he would have ever forgiven her, but I don't know, maybe he would have been more forgiving. I feel like ghosting is only okay if it's someone that you went on a date with like a couple times. But if you're dating someone, ghosting is crazy. I'm not crazy about not ghosting people. I don't really have like a huge opinion, and I'm like, you should never ghost anyone. There are situations where I feel like you just do ghost people because it's like, what, I'm supposed to text this guy that I went on 2 dates with, and we've been texting a little bit and getting along, that I don't want to talk to him anymore, or like, I'm not breaking up with him. I'm just gonna like slowly fizzle out the text messages and slowly fizzle things out because it's so awkward. unless they like keep texting you and they're like, hey, why haven't you talked to me? That actually happened. There was this guy that I was going on dates with previously to getting back with my boyfriend that I'm with right now, my current boyfriend. And I was just going on dates with him. I didn't really know, I wasn't like planning on dating him or anything. I was just going on dates with him, seeing where it went. We had only been on 2 dates at that point, so like I didn't like him, but we were texting back and forth and we were keeping in touch pretty much every day, but not like anything crazy. It wasn't like we were calling each other every day and we were texting like we loved each other. We were just texting friendly-ish and sharing like music and stuff back and forth. Then I was slowly getting back with my ex-boyfriend, and so it kind of fizzled out, those text messages. But then he asked me on a date. It was like a couple weeks into me and my boyfriend getting back together, and he asked me on a date, and I was like, oh fuck, now I have to say something. I felt like I had to say something. Also, not only because, not just because I felt bad, but also because we were kind of friends, because I was really close with his guy friends, and that's how I met him. I met him through a couple of my guy friends that I had been hanging out with and going out with, just like super as friends. Everyone was friends. And yeah, that's how I met him. So I was like, I feel bad because if I hang out with my group of guy friends again and he's there because he was my friend's roommate, then that's obviously awkward. So like I kind of had to say something. I couldn't just ghost the man. And I felt really bad because he was really nice and like we got along as friends, but I think that it was never going to be anything more. The title of the next story is I, 32 female, tested positive for trich. My husband, 37 male, says he didn't cheat. Based on my understanding of trich, it's usually contracted via sexual contact. I know there was a study done somewhere where a group of girls got it from shared bathwater, but that isn't the most common form of transmission by far. So unless my husband has been sharing bathwater or wet towels with someone who has it, I really can't think of how I would have caught it without him cheating on me. Does anyone have any possible explanation for how this could have happened? Or is he just full of shit and hoping that I'll believe him? I think the nurse at my doctor's office just didn't want to get in trouble somehow if she gave me a definitive answer about trich and cheating. She paused a lot and put me on hold a couple times so she could look stuff up and told me it's not always from cheating. Edit for anyone who has been so sweet and taken the time to write kind things in regards to posts I have made a few years ago, just so everyone knows they were in reference to my ex-husband. My now husband and I have been together for 3 years, so while it seems likely that he has been stepping out on me, he's not the same man who was abusing me from prior posts. I appreciate everyone's kindness and input. Okay, that edit just made me feel really sad because you had an abusive husband and now you have a new husband and he's most likely cheating on you. I don't know much about that. I've known a couple people that have had that. I'm pretty sure it's just pretty similar. Correct me if I'm wrong, because God knows I'm no scientist and I'm no doctor. But I'm pretty sure it's similar to like chlamydia, and you can just get rid of it by taking something pretty easily. I don't know. I didn't really ever ask when people that I know had it, but a couple people actually close to me had it. I can't imagine what the other reason would be for you to get an STI if you're not stepping out on your partner. The top comment says, I would be looking at your insurance to find a claim the last few months for any urgent care RX swabs he may have done before I accused of cheating. I would also be checking at the pharmacy to see if he had any scripts filled in the past 6 months that were antibiotic courses. You can ask the pharmacist for a print of all your meds for tax purposes. People do it all the time. Credit card / bank statements for any hotel or suspicious charges. If all that is clear, then this might be some kind of misunderstanding. As a former OB nurse, though, this is likely a case of infidelity, and I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. This is such great advice, someone said. And then some likely Anna Kendrick said, thank you. I'm sorry to say I've had several patients in these situations, some of them pregnant, and people can be unbelievably selfish. Annabelle said, how did he react when presented with the information about your diagnosis? Was he defensive and angry, or was he truly baffled? OP said, he seemed confused and apologetic. He said that he wasn't cheating on me in response to me asking him straight up, told me that he didn't know what trich is and that he had had some funky symptoms a while back and was afraid to say anything, and that he was sorry that he didn't bring it up, which, why would you be afraid to say anything? So you'd rather just keep having sex with me and possibly pass something off to me, even if it is just BV or something else, not STI related. It just set my bullshit meter off even more, honestly. Oh, that's kind of wild. I don't even know what trich is. Oh, yeah, probably because you haven't been tested. Unfortunately, at least in my life, I've realized that a lot of guys just don't get tested. They just wait till their PPs fall off, basically, or they literally develop rigor mortis in their private parts, and then they're like, oh, I should probably get this looked at. It's probably not an STI, though, right? I swear, they're so in denial about, like, hello, you gave this to me. You probably don't know what it is because you've never gotten tested. Someone commented back to that and said, it sounds like he already took a course of meds for it. I wish there was an update, but this is only 1 day ago. Oh my God. The worst thing in the world is, like, thinking that you have an STD or an STI and then going to the doctor and getting tested. Like, I literally cried on the table. I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, I don't want to. And I don't even have any symptoms. I think actually I had like a yeast infection or something. I don't know. There was a point in time where I was getting so many yeast infections back to back to back to back, baby. And it was awful. It was so itchy. It was so terrible. And like, I don't know what the hell was wrong. I don't know what I was doing that was wrong because I shower literally like 3 times a day, 2 to 3 times a day. And I'm like, what's happening? Obviously, I know you can get, I don't know what you can get yeast infections from, actually. Don't even ask me because I don't know. But yeah, I would get a yeast infection and then it would come back and it would keep coming back, but it would leave and come back. It was really weird. But then finally, once it came back, it hit me hard. I was like, give me some medicine. And I knew it was a yeast infection. So I went on this website and I got a really easy prescription. It was just like 1 pill and it was over. And I've never had a yeast infection since. I was honestly slaying the house down boots with that because I was so happy that I was able to get rid of it that easily. It went away in like 3 days. I was like, thank the Lord, because that's like the worst experience ever. I'm so glad that it's gone. So all her comments are indicating that she basically had a bunch of symptoms and she thought that she just had BV the whole time. So then she finally went and got tested and ended up being told that she has trichomoniasis. The title of the next story is, my wife, 40 female, told me after we got married that she cheated on me. Years later. My wife, 40 female, told me after we got married that she cheated on me, 42 male. Years later. I still can't let go of the pain. We've been together for over 20 years, married for 18. We have 6 children, and just after our first child was born, my now wife cheated on me. I had suspicions at the time, but she denied anything serious happened. Before we got married, I asked her directly if there was anything I needed to know, especially about that situation, and she told me no. I believed her, and we got married. A month later, she confessed that she had slept with the guy. She said it meant nothing and didn't want it to affect the future, so she kept it to herself. That hit me hard. I felt robbed of the chance to make an informed decision about marriage. I didn't react well. Over the years, I've become withdrawn at times and resentful. I've tried to work through it, but it's difficult when she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. She feels I'm holding on to something that should have been let go years ago, and that hurts her. But for me, it still feels unresolved. I've been questioning myself a lot lately. I'm tired, mentally and emotionally. I want to be better, for myself, for her, for our kids, but I just feel stuck. I often feel like I'm not even allowed to express my feelings without being shut down or blamed. I'm not looking to point fingers here. I'm trying to process, to understand my own emotions and find ways to move forward. If anyone has dealt with a long-term betrayal that came out later, how did you work through it? How did you learn to let go of something that was buried and came back to hit you long after it should have been addressed? Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support. Okay, well, the fact that you guys got married and she told you a month after. A month after you guys got married. So she wanted to lock you down, girl. She wanted to lock you down and make sure that you were going to marry her. And then she told you because it was so weighing on her. Her guilty conscience was getting to her. And she was like, oh, I have to tell him. So I'm just going to wait till after we get married. I think it was definitely premeditated for sure. She knew that you were probably going to leave her. And she was like, you know what? We'll get married. And then he's not going to be able to leave me because how could he? How could he after we get married? That's very selfish to me. And then also to not even be willing to talk about it more in depth until your husband feels okay about it 120% is even more selfish to me. Honestly, I feel like at that point, I would have rather just not known. Because I asked you before we got married for a reason. I asked you before we got married so that I could make an informed decision if I wanted to marry you or not. You said you didn't cheat, so we got married. And then you told me a month later because your guilty conscience got to you and you wanted to get it off your chest. And now I'm the one who has to feel the pain and the suffering for it. Like you just transferred your pain onto me. You should have just not said anything. I would never give that advice to anyone, but if that were a specific situation that happened to me, I'd be like, please just don't tell me. Please just don't do it. I'm surprised he stayed with her that long though, after her saying that, after only a month of being married. And I know that a lot of stories that we've read lately have been talking about annulments, and I feel like I don't know what the criteria for annulments are, but if it's like you've only been married for a month, maybe you could have looked into it. I don't know. The top comment says, it sounds like you stayed in this marriage for 17 and a half more years after her telling you that she cheated. All that time you still have questions and are thinking of divorcing her, yet you had more kids with her and kept the marriage. It's been almost 2 decades. Has she cheated again or given you any reason to continue going after her? At this point, you just need to make a real decision. Break up and co-parent or get help so you can move on. If you still have questions 15 plus years later, it sounds like she will never be able to get you to move on. Have you seen a therapist? It sounds like you both don't want to break up, but you also don't want to trust her. This is the worst of both worlds. Frankly, you should have broken up 17 and a half years ago or gotten couples therapy and made a commitment to move on with respect. Instead, it sounds like you just kept bringing up the cheating every couple weeks. Do you really think if she answers another question, you can move on? Honestly, I agree with that, actually. Because I do feel like once you not forgive someone for cheating, but once you decide that you're going to stay with someone for cheating, there has to be a point where you're like, okay, so I need to know this and this and this and this, and then your partner should be open with you about it. And then after that, I can work on moving on. But if you choose to stay with someone and then it's just something that you're going to like hold on to and resent about that person forever, I think I just don't understand what the point is of you guys staying together. You definitely should just move on, should have moved on at that point, because you can't really keep nagging someone about it for years and years and years when you made the decision to forgive them for it and stay with them for it. I definitely think, obviously, I don't know. That comment definitely opened my eyes a little bit, but it's still really selfish and really fucked up of the wife. I'm still thinking that she's the biggest asshole in the world for that. Someone said she sounds annoyed, not tortured, and I think that's the issue. I don't think she feels bad about it at all, and she never did. Well, I do think it's valid after 15 years or 17, whatever years, to be annoyed when that topic keeps getting brought up again and again and again. After 17 and a half years, that is eons ago. That is more than half of my life. I would be so annoyed. I'd be like if someone was bringing something up that I did when I was 10 years old, I'd be like, girl, you got to get over it. You got to get over it. At that point, I think that I would probably just make the decision to leave the marriage. At that point, it just sounds like someone needs to, give it up. Someone needs to decide to finally just split up the marriage, because obviously she is struggling with him and he's struggling with her. So it's like someone just needs to make the responsible decision to leave the marriage. That's the end of the storytime segment. We're going to move on to the advice segment. If you guys ever want unprofessional advice from me, just go in the description below. There is an advice form. It's a Google form, and just fill it out. Let me know as much detail as possible. Or if you feel more comfortable calling in and leaving a voicemail, the number is 561-264-7017. The title of this advice question is, how do I get over an ex when I have extreme attachment issues? Hi, so I don't really know what to do anymore. I'm 17, diagnosed with BPD and depression, and have had a long, hard battle growing up with familial issues. My boyfriend of 2 years broke up with me a few weeks ago, and I just don't know what to do. I feel so blindsided and upset because I don't really know what I did for him to leave. I don't really have many friends, so I let him become my life, which I know is bad, but I don't know. It gave me something to feel. I can't stop crying and throwing up because now I have no one. I know I should be happy that he's gone because he treated me horribly and would do things that he would know would hurt me and consistently degrade me. That being said, I just don't know what to do to get over it. As soon as he broke up with me, he started talking to this girl that bullied me. I don't know how to word it, but she harassed me, and that upsets me even more because he knows what she did to me. I just don't know what to feel right now, and I can't get over it and need some advice. Thank you. Well, one, you're definitely not overreacting at all. I think that's a totally normal way to feel after a breakup, regardless of how they treated you. If anything, I feel like when you have a trauma bond to someone, which usually a trauma bond is like when you're in an abusive situation with someone which it sounds like he emotionally abused you, mentally abused you in some way, then I feel like it can be even harder because that trauma bond is really hard to break. So I think that you're not overreacting at all. And I think that, of course, you don't want to feel like that anymore, but I do think that you're just going through the motions, and it's totally normal to feel devastated about a breakup. It's totally normal. And like I said, especially when you're trauma bonded to someone, you're going to be even more devastated than just a regular breakup. One thing that I know, I'm not a professional on BPD, but one thing that I do know about BPD is usually the way that they form relationships and they are in relationships can be a little bit more intense than other people that don't have BPD. And usually it becomes like an all-consuming bond with that person, and typically you end up just focusing on that person and kind of blocking everyone else out. So obviously when that bond breaks, it can be really hard, and it can trigger a lot of things and a lot of feelings, and like you're being abandoned in a lot of ways. And I think that's one of the things that people that have BPD struggle with a lot, is the fear of abandonment. And you almost feel like you need to like cling to a partner or even a friend. Sometimes it depends who it is or what situation you're in at the time. It can be a friendship. It can be even a close family member that you get really close to. It can be a relationship, obviously. But a big thing with BPD, and I know that my sister has BPD, so growing up around her, it was a big emphasis of being in a relationship and needing to be in a relationship or she wasn't okay. And when she would get in those relationships, it would be all consuming and it would completely take over her life. And if that relationship was toxic, it was even worse because it would bring out really terrible parts of her. And then when that relationship would end, it was a different type of terrible. Like it was a different type of reaction. It was almost like the world is ending. Like I will never be okay again because I'm never going to find a partner that loves me. I'm never going to find a partner that is going to stay with me. It was a lot of that. And I think that's a big part of BPD, is just the fear of abandonment and the fear of being abandoned by someone that you love or people that you love. A couple little steps that I would say you should do and how to take care of yourself right now would be just make sure you're taking care of yourself and make sure that you're eating, make sure that you're at least trying. I know that it can be really hard in a breakup to find an appetite, but try to make sure that at least you're drinking water, you're eating. Another thing that you can do that I always recommend in so many situations, especially in breakup situations, is to journal, write things, write everything, write your deepest, darkest thoughts, get it all out there on paper. It really, really helps. At least for me, that helped. And I know that it helps a lot of other people as well. And then another thing, block him. Block him if you haven't already. Block him. Block him on everything. You know how he treated you. He obviously was not the best partner. And if anything, he was an emotionally abusive partner. doing things to you that he knew would hurt you and purposely hurting you, knowing how you would react to certain things or certain situations. So block him, because keeping in contact with him is definitely, and I would recommend blocking to anyone that gets out of a relationship. I think no contact is the most healing way to get over a breakup. I think that it's the number one thing that I would recommend in a breakup is no contact. No contact was a godsend for me. I think without no contact, and when I broke no contact after a couple months, it was really hard for me. It almost felt like I was starting the breakup over again, which was really hard. And I regretted it so much, because I was like, wow, I was starting to do better. Like I was starting to, see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then I let my guard down and I broke no contact. And now I just feel all like the floodgates opening again. And it was awful. Also, just remember that you're not alone. There's a lot of people that have BPD. There's a lot of people that are going through relationship breakups. There are a lot of people that have BPD and are going through relationship breakups or friendship breakups or anything like that. A big thing that I would suggest, I always try to suggest like looking for communities online if you don't have someone that you can talk to in person. I think that this is a good alternative. And I know that there are a couple subreddits on Reddit, since I know that you obviously like to listen to Reddit because I'm a Reddit podcast, or maybe you like to read Reddit as well. I know that there are some Reddit subreddits that are for people that have BPD to support each other, ask questions and things like that. And then also on the other end, there are definitely subreddits for breakups as well, for people that need support with breakups, and you can post on there or you can just read on there and look through, and it feels comforting sometimes to see that you're not alone in what you're going through. But I'm a big believer in time heals. And I think that with time, you will start to feel better as long as you make those steps forward and you try to move on little by little. Like, don't ever expect that, the journey is going to be just a straight linear line. It's not. It's going to have ebbs and flows. It's going to go up and down. One day you might feel awful, and the next day you might feel a lot better. But there is going to be a time where the situation is just so far away at this point that you kind of start to forget, and the other parts of your life starts to fill your brain a lot more than the situation that you're going through. So time definitely heals, especially if you're doing no contact and you're not communicating with that person and you're not creeping on their social media or anything like that. That is also a part of no contact, which I know is really hard. No contact is the hardest part of no contact, I feel like, is looking at people's social medias. But that was also a big thing that helped me a lot, was not looking at that person's social media, because when you do, you're just opening up emotion, or you're searching for something and you'll find something that's going to upset you, whether that be they posted with a new girl, or you look at their following and they followed a new girl and you're just like, you become completely obsessed. So you can't let that take over your life. You really have to just focus on yourself. So I hope that helped at least even a little bit. And just remember that you're not alone, and remember that there are resources that you can reach out to and get help. I'm really thankful that you trusted me and asked me this advice question, because I know that it can be hard to be vulnerable with people, and it can be hard to reach out for help, and it can be hard to reach out for advice or anything like that. But yeah, I love you and it will be okay. I'm actually starving. I feel like not every single time, but I think the last episode I was also starving and my stomach was growling so bad, but I don't think you could hear it, thank God. I've been so hungry lately, and I think it's because I'm about to start my period. I actually don't know if I'm about to start my period or not, but I have been feeling some like sharp pains in my ovaries, and usually that means the period is coming. And I always get famished when I'm about to start my period. It's actually insane how much hungrier I get, especially because I eat the same amount of food when I'm on and off my period. Well, actually, that's a lie. When I'm on my period, I definitely eat more, but I'm usually eating the same amount of food. So usually there's like so many weeks where I'm not hungry at all beyond what I eat in a day. And then there's weeks where it's like, okay, this is a normal amount of food for me to be eating, yet I'm actually starving and it feels like I haven't eaten a single thing all day. Like it feels like I've eaten a literal tree nut. I think that I want to go get Blaze Pizza because it's like easy and fast, and I love some easy and fast, and I'm not cooking tonight. That's for damn sure. I cooked a couple times this week. I meal prepped for us, and then for lunch lately I've been doing protein mac and cheese with ground beef, and it's really yummy and it has a lot of protein, so, and it keeps me pretty full. Yeah, I'm definitely not cooking tonight. That's for sure. If you guys are watching Handmaid's Tale, guys, I restarted this series because the last time I watched it, I didn't watch it as soon as it came out. The first season came out in 2017, and I didn't watch it until 2020. So I had so much to binge, and I binged. Girl, I binged that shit. And then after I was done with those seasons, I think 2022 is when season 5 came out, which was the last season, which was 3 years ago. They made us wait 3 years to get season 6, which is insane. But episode 9, guys, seriously, if you guys haven't watched it, obviously, like, spoiler alert. I'm about to talk about it a little bit just because the way that I feel about Nick, and there's a lot of controversy. I didn't realize how controversial this topic was because obviously you guys know, like, I am pro woman. I am 100% pro woman, okay? But I've built this connection with Nick Blaine over 5 seasons. I've seen that he struggles with trying to survive and make it in Gilead, but also wrestling with his morality in so many ways. And he's helped in so many ways. And it really makes me so mad what they've done to his character this season. They've absolutely character assassinated him like so hard, and they're gaslighting us. And I think everyone's believing that he's just a shitty person because I feel like the last season is so far away that no one remembers and no one feels that connection with him anymore. But I'm not kidding, guys. Like, he did so much, and yeah, was a lot of it because of June? Yes. But even previous to knowing June, he was helping people. He was helping the girls at Jezebel's. He was bringing them birth control. He obviously isn't loud and proud about that, but you can't really be loud and proud in Gilead. Like, you're going to be on the wall. So I feel like he's done so much, and it just really makes me so upset. And then to just give him this character arc in season 6 and kill him off after not even letting him redeem himself and remind people that, like, I think he's a good guy. I think deep down he's a good guy. Obviously, like, people are loving Lawrence. Yes, I also love Lawrence, but do people not remember that he is the architect that created the colonies in Gilead? You're going to forgive him and you're going to say, I feel the same way about Lawrence. I love Lawrence as well. You can't forgive Nick. Nick isn't the one who fucking made the colonies. I know that he was a soldier in the crusade. I know that there's so many things, but I just think that it's nuanced, and I think that people are looking at it so black and white, and people are just very determined, but there are also a lot of people that agree with me on that stance. But I'm not backing down. I love him. Sorry. June would be dead season 1 episode 1.5 without him. So I'm sorry. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. And obviously I'm team woman all the way. I would pick a woman over a man any day, a million times over. To see his name dragged through the damn mud like that really got me going. And I am just really sad. And obviously I'm really sad about Lawrence as well. But I'm definitely happy that he decided to sacrifice himself. And I'm excited for episode 10. I'm actually scared, but I'm also really excited. And I just found out, I don't know why I didn't know this, but apparently they're making a spin-off because obviously this is based on, like, the novels of The Handmaid's Tale, and then there's the Testaments. They're making a show out of the Testaments, which in the book it's 15 years after The Handmaid's Tale, but I watched a clip of an interview where June said it's not going to be 15 minutes. It's not going to be 15 years after. It's actually going to start off where Handmaid's Tale left off, which I think makes sense. And obviously they're not following the novel exactly or even like that closely. So I think they're obviously going to do what they're going to do with it. And I feel like it's hard. I don't know. I want to read the books, But at the same time, I'm like, am I gonna know? I never feel like I should read books after I watch movies or shows, because I'm like, I already know what's gonna happen. But a lot of people have said there are like a lot of differences with, and Nick's character apparently in the books ends up, he's the one that saves June from being hung. And then he comes out as Mayday, and it's just like, why couldn't they have given that him that ending in the show? I would be much happier. But anyways, yeah, that's my rant. Let me know what you thought of these stories. If you have any kind, nice advice to give to the advice question, obviously do so. If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button, the like button. I love you guys so much, and I really appreciate all the support. I also have a Patreon. It's linked in the description below. If you would support me on there, obviously I would appreciate that. But I appreciate any support that you guys give me. And yeah, you guys don't even know how much I appreciate it. But I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Love you. Bye. My merch is out. Yeah, but this is it. And this comes in pink, black, and white. If you want to get a little cute piece of merch, go grab one. Link is in the description to purchase. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.